Okay, guys. So, how many of you have heard of Rudolph Laban? Awesome. Is this your dance?
No, we used Laban for UIL last year.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Was it based off of another thing that we had learned? Or was it something I taught you guys?
Oh, UIL middle school.
UIL Middle School? Who was your little UIL Middle School teacher?
Miss Coffee. We used Laban for a theme.
Okay, cool. So how did it go for you? Was it good?
I wasn't actually doing Laban. I was the one person on stage doing Laban because I was one of the lead characters. So I was sitting down and all my thoughts were Laban. They were like just everywhere.
Good. So how would you describe them with an adjective? Useful, weird, interesting? Interesting. Anyone else? What was your experience?
I do dance, and I like to this camp thing for like musical theater, and we use the middle.
Cool. And how would you describe it with an adjective?
Just interesting.
Did you find it useful?
Yeah.
That's good. All right. So if you go to college, if and when, some people might go to trade school. I don't know. Some people might go straight pro. I don't know what your lives will be. But if and when you go to college, and if and when you study theater or dance, I guarantee you, no matter what college you go to, you will study Laban. It will most likely be your freshman year of college. They study that right away. All right, so what I am teaching you guys is college level. Okay, so if it's a little confusing, if it's a little odd at first, that's why. Don't worry. But it once, like riding a bike, once it clicks, oh my God, it's going to open up so many avenues for you. So if that doesn't click by the end of today, that's okay. Miss Aran has my contact information. I very much, I've worked with you guys, this school, for 3 years. I very much will do whatever I can to help you guys out from now onward. Okay, so please know that I am a resource for you guys as well. All right, so Laban did create 8 effort actions. All right, and it's how we move. All right, so before I get into that, we're going to explore those movements in itself. All right, so there are some rules. All right, we have this space that we are in right now. Let's try to think of this space as a square. Just so for safety reasons, let's go ahead and stay off the grand, and we'll stay outside of the wings, and don't really go all the way to the back wall. So think of that little space right about here. So that's probably about like 40 by 20, something like that. Nice little space. All right, so go ahead. If you want, you can put your papers out of the area just so you don't step on them or kick them. And then, silently, I want you guys as a group to fill this space as evenly as possible. Okay, what do I mean by fill the space? Your body is positive energy. All this empty space is negative energy. All right. So right now, I have a whole bunch of positive energy and then one piece of positive energy in the middle. I want it to look like a polka dot sheet of paper with completely equal positive spots. So as a group, no one talking, no leaders, no followers. As a group, let's see if we can make that happen. No talking. Nonverbal communication. I can tell you right now, you communicate non-verbally 3 times as much, 4 times as much as you do verbally. Almost all of our communication is nonverbal. So this is something we should be very used to. Everyone checking in? Good. I like us using the hands. I like people, again, you don't have to face the front. You can face whatever direction you want. All right, now for this purpose, I do want y'all standing up. I do like that you made a choice, though. Great choice. Remember, there are no bad choices. All right? And, good. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the space. All right? But our number one objective at all times with this work will be to keep the space like this. I'm going to clap my hands. When I clap my hands, you're going to stop, or you'll go, depending on whichever one you're doing. Okay? So when I clap my hands, if you're moving and I stop you at any point, you should be something similar to this equal space. Are we double checked? Everyone good? We good over here? Is that spot looking good to y'all? Y'all tell me? Y'all spaced on mine. Okay. So, when I clap my hands loudly, you will walk around the space. And so, try not to be circle zombies. Try to make choices. Try to make dynamic moves. Not necessarily straight lines, but if you feel like a straight line is what you want to do, go ahead. But again, you're working together. You're communicating non-verbally. Making sure that if I leave this spot and there's an empty hole, I got to make sure that one of my teammates, one of my colleagues are going to fill it in for me. Okay? Ready and... Clap my hands, stop. Let's assess you can keep your assessments to yourself, but just notice. Okay. Got a few gaps in here. All right. What can I do to help make that stop? Right? What can I or should I have done to help prevent that? So again, always be thinking 2 steps ahead. It's never anyone's fault. It's always our fault. It's always us that are successful together. Okay? So we can't blame one person or the other. It's always myself. It's always what could I have done. All right. All right. Back at it. So I want us to start thinking about, while we're moving, be aware of images that pop in your head, whether they're colors, whether they're moments in your past, whether it's something you've seen or experienced, whether it was camping, whether it was, a memory from childhood, whatever it was, whether it was something totally fictional. Maybe this movement makes you think of a family member, makes you think of a color. Just be aware of images. What does walking at this pace, in this moment, make your mind go? What specifically do you see? Let's assess the space. How'd we do? Better than last time. Got a little bit of a line through here. That's all right. Okay, one more time. Okay, can anybody be brave enough to share what image, if any images, pop up in your head? Yeah. Walking through a park. Good. I'm sorry? Marketplace. Hallway. Good. I like that. Good. All right. So think of your paces, of the numbers that you walk, 0 through 10. 0 was earlier when you were absolutely still. Let's go ahead and go to 0. Let's make sure. Always be checking. Because you always got to be ready to stop. You always got to make sure that you have to start anticipating when that hole's going to open up as a group and do your part to fill it in. Okay? Is that 100% possible? Probably not. Okay? But that's the beauty of theater. It's never going to be perfect. But you always have to work towards perfection. Okay? That's one thing as artists that we have to know, that we cannot be perfect. But if you're not working towards perfection, in the arts, in theater, it turns into that M word that I can't stand and I don't allow, and I'm sure y'all don't either. Do y'all know what M word I'm talking about? Mess. It is almost a mess, but it's even worse than mess, because a mess can be cleaned up, right? A mess can be made right.
Mediocre.
Oh, mediocre. Oh, mediocrity is the killer of all arts. Okay, if you walk into rehearsal thinking, I got it. I got my lines down. I'm good. Boom. That's the death pill. Okay? You have to be afraid of mediocrity like the plague. How do you get rid of it? Always looking for improvement. Always finding that next step. Whether you're Michael Jordan or whether you're a bench warmer. Always trying to improve. Whether you just got cast or whether you're an understudy or whether you're not cast at all. Always looking for improvement. Because I can't tell you how many actors I've known who had the greatest talent I've ever seen, and then they just stop working, and all of a sudden they quickly sink back down to mediocrity. So that's just a quick thing. When I say, oh, how can we fix that? Yes, it's not going to be perfect. It never will be, but we always work towards that. All right, good. So we're at 0. Now, when we walk out of 1 through 10, I want you to be aware of it. I want you guys to start selecting what paces those are at. Okay? So let's go back to walking, whatever pace you want. Now I want you to observe. Right now you're just on your inside, but now allow others to come into our playing field. Start to observe others' paces. And now match their pace. So no leaders, no followers. Allow the group to think as a whole. What pace does the group want to go? Always remember one objective. Fill the space. If you were to put a label on this pace right here, so remember 0 is still, 10 is not running, 10 is walking as fast as you can. All right, so you're still walking, but as fast as you can. What number would this be? 2, so everyone else? A 3? A 4? Okay. So keep in mind, 5 and 6, that's like halfway. So do we have, can I see the 3s put a hand up? I think it's a 3. Can I see 2s put a hand up? Does anyone else have anything other than 2 or 3 or 4s or 1s? I'd say, let's call it 3. Let's just call it 3, I think. So let's everyone find this 3. Let's move in this 3 again. No circle zombies. Make choices where you're moving. So and again, anticipate where that next hole is going to be. Start to look. If people are moving this direction and that direction, anticipate that you need to move to fill up that hole that's about to go. And come to 0. Good. All right. Did the images change between when we were first walking at our own pace to the 3? Did anyone have an image change that they want to share? Everyone just kind of said the same?
I went from like an airport to a park.
Good. Good. How did that feel inside? More relaxed. Good. Less stress. That's what it would seem like. Yeah, because the airport is never fun. Never fun. Very few times that I'm excited to be at an airport. I mean, obviously you're excited to go somewhere, but the airport part is not the fun part of it. Good. All right, so, and again, I want to also let you guys know, this work that we're doing today is normally taught over an entire semester. Okay, this is something that I teach year-round with most of my students. This is something that in college you learn through an entire semester. You guys are brilliant, and that's why we're doing a fast-paced track on this, okay? So again, if you get lost, if you're like, man, I'm confused, totally cool. You're all right. Ask me questions whenever you have questions, and again, if you think of it next week, you ask me next week, y'all be able to get my info to contact me then, okay? So if you are lost, that's okay. I'll try to ring you in as much as possible. So now, I'm going to call out numbers. I want you guys to match those numbers as a group. Okay, so you're going to discover what an 8 is together. I might think I know what an 8 is now, but I'm not going to know what an 8 is until the group and I all agree on an 8. We just agreed on a 3. Okay? So let's go back to that 3. Remember, fill the space. I see big old corners over here. Be aware of those images. Where does this movement take you? All right. Let's move it up to a 4. So there's 10% more. Might be similar to a 3, but it is not a 3. How are those images changing? And again, if you have an image you want to share, I would love to hear it. There are no bad images. It is just your personal, what you feel. That's what art is. It's beautiful. Move up to a 5. Remember, start not only looking at the people, but the space. My colleagues, but the space that we share. And 6. Number 1 objective, fill the space. Don't get so focused on working at a 6. Images. This is much different than a 3, twice as fast. What images? Anything new? Seven. 8. Fill the space, fill the space. 9. Walking as fast as you can. 10. And 0. Pretty good. How'd we do? We talk about what we felt. I hear a lot of deep breathing. What do we feel? Yeah? Just Ridgepoint always right when the bell rings?
When all the cases come in Main Street, it's so crowded. Yeah, a lot of people.
Okay.
I felt like very rushed, like I was like late to someplace.
Okay, very just general stress, not necessarily specific.
Rushing catches like a subway or a train.
Oh, okay. What city do you live in catching subways? That's good.
I felt like it was a lot like that actually. It's just like rushing to find something or someone and like trying not to look like you're rushing, but you are.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
So you're trying to cover the rush.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, that's interesting.
Felt like I was escaping someone who was trying to rob me or shoot me.
Gotcha. So you again felt a stress, non-specific, but that it was you were being chased, and especially with having to shuffle through people, I could see that. Was there? Yeah.
Everyone had like their own sense of urgency, even though the reasons might be different.
I love that term, sense of urgency, and that's so important. The sense of urgency, because that's always the most important thing on stage. Whatever we're on stage for, it has to be important. Otherwise, why are we wasting the audience's time with that time on stage?
I felt like getting off an airplane because you're like slow and then you're like walking through the airport.
You're just trying to barrel through.
Yeah, I felt like I was running from someone. I didn't know who it was.
Good. And what I want to stress is that, someone might have a similar experience to me in this work, but it is never the same. Okay, so don't feel like, oh, well, they already said what I was going to say. If you've got your own personal take on it, then that's yours. It's always going to be different. You might go to see a play, but again, the experience I have, if we see the same play, it's going to be different than the experience you had. It might be similar, but it's going to be different. And it's the same thing with this work. So we need to be able to appreciate. And the reason why I think it's important to be able to speak out what you feel is because you have to start making subjective objective. You have to start knowing why things make you feel the way they feel, right? Why do we feel rushed? Oh, because I'm going to be late. Oh, because, things like that. But what's crazy to me is how just walking fast automatically triggers within us a stress, right? You didn't have to think about someone chasing you. You didn't have to think about, oh, I'm late for something. You just knew something wasn't good because I was moving this fast. And that's what's so big about this work. Most of the time, as younger actors, we think, oh, I have to, especially nowadays. Nowadays, we see all these actors like Johnny Depp and Meryl Streep and Viola Davis and Denzel Washington, and they have these characters, and they act so much, and they get it all in their head, and they try to internalize it all. But with Laban, it's much more simple. It's just be there, make choices physically, and what's amazing is that